and so
Mm.
yay. So
Yeah.
all those things.
On that front, somewhere, like, there is a lot of California coast that is uninhabited, and that is somewhere I could see myself when I'm 70 years old. I grew up in the ocean. I love the ocean. I know it's a cold ocean, but so is New Zealand. And, you know, for New Zealand, it comes up from the Arctic or Antarctic, and then it does that massive circle, goes back up into the North Pole area, and then circles back to California. So it's just as cold. But I love this. There's something about the salt air. You can breathe it, taste it, feel it.
Yeah, and I bet you do miss that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're breathing mountain air here, so.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, so I say to my friends back home, so Auckland, New Zealand, where I grew up, officially 167 days of sun a year. Colorado, everywhere you go, 300. So I tell my friends that I'm basically living twice as long as you in regards to days that I can get out and enjoy, which is...
That's actually quite true.
It's a good... Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm excited and nervous on all those things. So yes, absolutely, you have my verbal commitment, and I don't think it's going to be anywhere near 3 months. I mean, if I read the contract last night, and obviously, you know, closing date I think would be set for June 6th, if all goes well.
And we could, to make it super convenient, well, I don't know. You just tell me, yeah. It could even be, so I just passed this off to a title company, and they could even work with the title company on your end and, you know, make it a double transaction so that you kind of don't have to double. I'm complicating things. We can close whenever you want and need. Let's say that.
Well, I'm not sure you're complicating things with that because of my choice, and I thought about everything you said about getting financed instead of paying cash, and I've gone through it with executor of my dad's will, my brother-in-law, and he's CPA and financial guy, and I'm in a position to want to pay cash.
Yeah.
And the main thing is I would need to prove
proof of funds or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so and also the thing that I hope doesn't complicate things, and I don't think it will. But I have transfer on. My dad and I had joint tenancy.
Okay. That's his name is Frank.
Yes.
Okay.
That's my dad, and so when he passed, he had transfer on death set up, and so that's been filed with my brother-in-law's Andy. So he's done what he needs to do with the transfer on death, and what we had prior to my dad dying is what is it? A special warranty deed. So it's not just
yes.
Yes. So
that's high class. Like high. Well, no, not high level. High level deed. You know, like it means it's very clean.
Yes, and it's been filed with clerk and recorder, and you know all of that. So, so that's the piece, and I don't know enough about these transactions to say, okay, on closing, does that have had to have changed with transfer on death? But, you know, I talked to my brother-in-law, and he said that, you know, you own it, you're free and clear. So
yeah.
That's what that is.
And that's why you use a title company. That's why we use a title company. So, you know, when you sell us the property, we have a third-party independent title company. And they take the deed from you, the title from you, and they make sure that you are allowed to pass/sell that. And then what they do is once that's clear, they say to me, Shaun, we are happy to pass this on, and we will insure it for the amount that and that's what you're paying. So if something came up, they would just give me the money back. And
that's title insurance.
Correct, yeah. And the other reason for using a title insurance or a title company is so they hold the deed on the day of closing. In effect, they take the deed from you, and then they take the money from me, and now they're holding both.
Right.
And then they give you the money and give me the house. And that way you are protected and I am protected through the title company. And, you know, there's been stories where investors or people have sold for cash and not used. And this is where the don't be a dick scenario comes in. You know, and it's actually one of the things that we've said, like one of the rules is always use an independent title company. Because it protects, I mean, selfishly, it protects me. You know, you can't give me because that's actually another thing that's happening more and more regularly is, so just like you filed a special warranty deed, this is a side note. People, any random person can go and file a deed with the state, with the city, and then sell it. And the city doesn't really check it. Now, this, for the unsuspecting buyer, they could be buying a piece of paper that is really not worth anything in the future.
How can someone, so a random person, doesn't own a property, but they go file a deed? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. So I could.
How can that pass through? I mean,
there's no checks until it goes through a title company. So if I could go and, let's say I'm a criminal, I go file a deed for your house. No, seriously, for your house. And now it's registered in Arapahoe County that Shaun owns the house. So then I list the house as for sale by owner. And let's say you or some other person as a buyer calls me up and says, oh, you've got a house for sale, I'd like to buy it. And I say, yeah, you know, it's a great deal, but we got to move fast. I'll sell it to you for $250, which is way under market, right? But it's got to be cash, and you know, if you don't take it, I'll sell it to the next guy, and because you know I've got offers coming out the wazoo. And the person's like, okay, where do I transfer the money? Yep, right here. Where do I transfer the deed? Oh, yeah. You know, you can make it really, and boom. Now that person has bought that piece of paper and believes they own the property, and then they record it. Now, in the city records or in the county records, there's now two deeds. One saying that I bought it from you, and then another saying someone bought it from me. Now, none of that went through the title company, but it's completely recorded with the city. Now, when you go to sell your property that you still think, or that new owner comes and knocks on your door and is like, I own this property. And you're like, no, you don't. And meanwhile, I've run off to Barbados with the cash. And yeah, I can't come back to the States, obviously. This is happening.
wow.
Yeah, and you're left with the new, you know, pseudo owner, I guess, is left with to pick up the pieces. So, yeah, I'm sure you're not planning, but always use a title.
Right.
Yeah, because as you know, as the buyer, if you don't use it, if you use that title company, the title company does all that in-depth checking for us. And if they're happy, we'll give the title insurance. And so if my money is buying a bad piece of paper, they'll give me my money back and they'll deal with the mess. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so far I don't know any criminals that might be doing that.
No, you in the city, like I can look up property records for any property. Right. Arapahoe County says that Frank and Diane own the property as joint tenancy, which from my understanding, joint tenancy is when somebody passes away, the ownership goes to the other person. Now, yeah, you got to file a piece of paper, but that's not, you know, the joint tenancy by nature is that.
Well, and so, you know, joint tenancy, based on what you just said, that definition then on top of that, I not only have a death certificate, but I have
Yeah.
transfer on death in his will.
Yeah, so that the title company will require that when you sell it, because at the moment, let's say you haven't filed that. When you go to sell it, the title company will look and say, well, we need signatures from Frank and Diane. But then but you won't have to tell them that because your brother-in-law Andy has filed this. And so eventually, or when the title company does a search, they will see that, oh, Frank passed away and now the joint tenancy has been, done and it's now in Diane's name. Now, where we would have a problem is if, let's say I looked it up and it said there's a record that says Diane and Frank sold it to Shaun. And that's,
right.
But that's not there. Yeah. And you'd be like,
as far as I know,
yeah. No, it's not. It's there. It's like you said, it's very clean. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Talk to me a little more about how that would work because you saying to me about that time frame with the dual titles, dual transfer of funds happening. That's exactly what I need because I need to have that. And Curtis told me, he said, with what you and I were just talking about, transfer on death, tenancy, et cetera, that, he said, let's focus on you putting an offer in on the house down here. That stuff will most likely make sense to the seller in my to know that I'm not going to be like, this is not going to work.
Yeah. So your real estate agent probably made the contract to purchase their property contingent on you selling yours. We can write up an official contract. So the contract I've given you is official. It is legally binding. However, it is very simple to get the basic ideas across.
Right.
We can.
I read to you a couple of times.
Yeah. We will create or produce the Colorado Standard contract after you've signed that one, and it will look like you will receive a contract just as the correct, and it will be seriously long and all sorts of crap in there, but it'll just the reason it is what it is because those things have to be in there because of past occurrences in a court of law. That's what I was told by a lawyer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And with the easiest thing, and we can get to this, so I'm gonna, as soon as we get off the phone, I'm gonna sign what you sent me.
Yes.
And so does that mean that you would take over communication with Curtis to get this
I can.
done the way it should be, or
I
would prefer that if you don't mind because you know those things.
My job is to make selling the house as easy as possible. So yes, and probably ultimately what will happen is Curtis will put me in touch with your title company / their title company.
Okay.
I will put their title company